The journey kicks off with a surprise farewell party because, let's be real, you can't just ghost your friends before heading to a whole new nation. Everyone from the 6.0 Archon to the Dragon Lord showed up to see the Traveler off, proving the squad's bonds are still going strong. Finally, on the road to Nod-Krai, the crew starts getting philosophical about when an adventure truly begins. Paimon's moment was running out of snacks, a totally relatable crisis. Anva, the robot companion, marks the boundary with scientific coordinates, which is a whole different vibe, honestly. The Traveler gets a sudden memory jolt upon arriving in Nod-Krai, realizing this is the exact spot where they and their twin first landed in Teyvat. It's a huge revelation that's been locked away, and it brings up a powerful energy they remember, which Anva identifies as Kuvaki. While heading to Nasha town, they spot a floating creature called a Kuheni. It's described as a familiar of the moon goddess, said to guide people to important things. This introduces the local religion, which is separate from the 7 Archons and dates back to an ancient civilization. Nasha town isn't the picture-perfect paradise they expected. The place has a heavy history, marked by a devastating abyssal calamity known as the Wild Hunt. This event left the land desolate, and now the term paradise is used more as an ironic aspiration for a lawless land. The Adventurers Guild is empty, so the crew heads to the flagship tavern to meet Varka, but he's not there either. Instead, they meet the owner, Dion, who explains Varka is off dealing with trouble in the north but has already paid for their room and board, which is majorly generous. In the hallway of the tavern, they bump into their new neighbor, an eccentric man named Kirill Chudirovich Flint. He introduces himself as a ratnik, a guard stationed at the northern burial grounds to fight the Wild Hunt. His whole vibe is cultured, but definitely spooky and graveyard-obsessed. Exploring the town, they stumble upon the Frostmoon Scions, giving out free food as a boon. They meet Lama, a moon chanter, who explains their philosophy of kindness and compassion as a light against the darkness. This establishes them as a key faction in Nod-Krai's complex social landscape. The good vibes are interrupted by some rude Fatui agents who insult the Scions' food and threaten them. It's clear there's major beef between the two groups, especially after the Fatui have been messing with the Scions' sacred statues. The Traveler's reputation precedes them, and the Fatui back off. Of course, Dory has a shop here. She pops up and immediately tries to sell them insider info on all the local factions. She gives them the lowdown on the Frostmoon Scions, the Fatui, and the Knights of Favonius, all while warning them about a rival business called the Curatorium of Secrets. Things get intense when they mistake a new receptionist at the Adventurers Guild for Catherine, only for her to reveal she's Marionette, the 7th Fatui Harbinger. She delivers a not-so-subtle threat, telling them to stay out of the Fatui's way in Nod-Krai, establishing herself as a major antagonist. They finally meet Anno, the genius mechanic who built and repaired Anva. She's a quirky kid with a massive sweet tooth, and her dynamic with Anva is more like a strict older sister than a creation. The scene is both hilarious and heartwarming, showing a different side of Nod-Krai's inhabitants. The Traveler asks Anno about their lost spaceship, but she confirms she's never seen any tech like that in Nod-Krai. She suggests their best bet for finding information about the distant past is to ask the Frostmoon Scions, who possess an ancient relic that can reveal the true past. On their way to meet the Scions, a mysterious breeze turns flower petals into a unique-looking Kuheni. This creature starts following them, and it's clear it's not just any random spirit. The moment feels significant, hinting at a deeper connection between the Traveler and the land's magic. They meet up with Lama again, who reveals she has the ability to communicate with animals. It turns out a small creature they rescued earlier sent a message of thanks through her. This confirms Lama's special connection to nature and her importance among the Frostmoon Scions. The special Kuheni that's been following them is identified as a Luan Natar, a rare being born from the moon goddess's blessing. Lama suggests it has taken a liking to them and that they should let it tag along, as it's considered a sign of good fortune. A new companion joins the party. Lama drops a massive lore bomb. Teyvat used to have 3 moons, not 1. She explains the history of the Eternal Moon, the Frost Moon, and the Iridescent Moon, and how a great war triggered by the Descenders led to their destruction. This completely changes their understanding of the world's cosmology. A crisis breaks out when a young girl's sensitivity to Kavaki flares up. Lama uses a mysterious power to soothe her, but the incident reveals deep divisions within the Scions. Some are xenophobic and cling to old beliefs, while Lama advocates for seeking outside help and adapting. The Fatui show up again, this time with a 3-day ultimatum: hand over their sacred relic and reveal the whereabouts of their goddess, Kutar, or face a full-scale cleansing of their island. The Scions refuse, and a fight breaks out, escalating the conflict to a new level. Lama reveals that their goddess, Kutar, was born 500 years ago but left the island. She recently reappeared, which is why the Fatui are now harassing them. The biggest twist? The Fatui claim Kutar is actually their missing 3rd Harbinger, Kolumbina, also known as the Damslet. The Traveler asks Lama to use the sacred relic, the Moon Marrow, to see their past and find their spaceship. Lama agrees to help, but explains she can only access it during a special ceremony that's 2 months away, leaving them at a temporary dead end in their main quest. Following a trail of mysterious flowers, the Traveler finds a hidden grotto where Kolumbina, Kutar, is singing a haunting melody. She is ethereal and detached from the world, confirming she doesn't know her own name and that her past is a missing prologue, adding to her enigmatic character. In a shocking twist, the Traveler is reunited with their twin, Lumen. She claims she's also there for the Moon Marrow to uncover the truth of their past. She convinces the Traveler to bypass the waiting period and break into the relic's secret chamber with her, creating a moment of hope and suspicion. The Traveler and Lumen venture into the secret chamber together, solving puzzles and fighting monsters side by side. The whole experience feels like a nostalgic throwback to their old adventures, but there's an underlying tension, as if something isn't quite right about this sudden reunion. Deep inside the chamber, they work as a perfect team to unlock a sealed mirror. The dynamic feels so natural that the Traveler starts to let their guard down. Lumen even teases them about a friendly competition, making the adventure feel genuine and distracting from any lingering doubts. As they approach the final trial, the Traveler expresses how surreal it feels to be adventuring with their twin again. Lumen reassures them, saying this is an adventure that belongs to us. The emotional weight of the moment is immense, making the impending reveal even more devastating. After defeating the final Guardian, they find the Moon Marrow. But Lumen's demeanor shifts, and she coldly demands the Traveler retrieve it for her. The illusion shatters as a mysterious fog rolls in, and she disappears. The entire reunion was a cruel deception created by the Wild Hunt. The real Flint appears and finds the distraught Traveler surrounded by the Wild Hunt. He confirms that the Lumen they saw was a phantom and that he's been tracking this new, intelligent form of the Wild Hunt. The betrayal is confirmed, leaving the Traveler to grapple with the fake reunion. The next morning, news has spread that the Frostmoon Scions' sacred relic has been stolen. Everyone suspects the Fatui. The Traveler, racked with guilt, knows the truth is far more complicated and that they were an unwitting pawn in the theft of the Moon Marrow. They find Lama at the Curatorium of Secrets, a shady information brokerage run by a woman named Nefer. The Traveler confesses everything that happened in the secret chamber. Lama, surprisingly, is understanding and doesn't blame them for being deceived by the Phantom. Nefer, the sharp-witted owner of the curatorium, pieces the clues together. She suggests that while the Traveler's twin was an illusion, the Fatui might have swooped in to steal the relic after the seal was broken. This theory provides a new lead and shifts the blame, at least partially. In a brilliant move, Lama makes a deal with Nefer. She asks Nefer to persuade the very next person who walks through the door to help them. That person turns out to be Hoda, Nefer's slightly cowardly employee, who gets roped into a high-stakes infiltration mission against her will. Later that night, Lama meets with the Traveler and reveals her deepest secret. She has always known the moon in Teyvat's sky is fake. Her unique sensitivity to Kavaki allows her to sense the truth, but she's hidden it from her people to maintain unity, bearing the burden alone. Lama reveals another secret. She uses her own blood, which has special properties, to treat the sick child Karina. This is a forbidden practice that she keeps hidden from her people. It showcases the immense personal sacrifices she makes as a leader, living a life of concealment. The Traveler and Paimon decide to visit Kolumbina again, this time bringing her food as a peace offering. They hope to understand her better and figure out her connection to the moon. This is a shift from seeing her as an enemy to seeing her as a potential, if cryptic, source of information. Kolumbina opens up slightly, explaining that the Scion's demands and expectations drove her away. She feels like her story is missing its beginning, a prologue that lies on the real moon. Her goal is not power, but to find her true home and origins, making her a more tragic figure. Kolumbina reveals that the Tsaritsa offered her a second home with the Fatui, but they too only wanted her for her power. She has since fulfilled her promise to the Tsaritsa and is now essentially a free agent, recovering her strength in isolation, caught between two worlds that failed her. The infiltration of the Fatui's Kuvaki Experimental Design Bureau begins. Yehoda, despite her initial reluctance, steps up as their guide, equipped with stolen keycards and a plan to get them in through a freight entrance. The stealth mission is officially underway. Inside the facility, the team faces their first obstacle, a squad of sentry bots. Yehoda gives them the option of a stealthy detour or a direct fight. This moment establishes the mission's dynamic, with Yehoda providing the strategy and the Traveler's crew providing the muscle. Yehoda teaches the Traveler the third rule of treasure hunting, go with the flow. She uses a terminal to reassign recon bots, clearing a path for them to proceed. Her expertise and quirky rules add a lighthearted touch to the tense stealth operation. Their plan hits a snag when they find the freight shaft is double-locked. Thinking on her feet, Yehoda finds an alternate route. This section highlights her resourcefulness under pressure, proving she's more than just the comic relief character she initially seemed to be. To bypass more guards, Yehoda has to answer a timed, 10-question security verification at a terminal. She miraculously gets every question right, from the Fatui motto to Sandrone's name, solidifying her status as an officially certified maintenance intern and clearing their path forward. The cargo lift they're hiding in runs out of emergency power, leaving them stranded. Yehoda proposes escaping through a ventilation duct, but in a moment of panic, she slips out just as a security gate slams shut, separating her from the rest of the team. Now separated, Yehoda has to guide the team remotely through a deadly laser grid inside the ventilation duct. She controls the Kuvaki flow to create safe paths, forcing them to rely on teamwork and precise communication to survive. It's a high-stakes puzzle that tests their trust in each other. In a stroke of genius, Yehoda decides to hijack a janitor bot to retrieve a high-level access card. This leads to a hilarious sequence where she has to maintain her cover as a cleaning bot while trying to complete her objective, showcasing her creativity and adaptability. Reunited with the team, Yehoda uses her new high-level access card to delve into the facility's data logs. They discover that the Fatui are analyzing the moon marrow to create a weapon using its connection to the light realm, revealing the true purpose of their operation in Nod-Krai. They drain a massive pool of water, revealing a hidden chamber built upon a huge ancient moon remnant. As they prepare to enter, Yehoda decides to stick with them, no longer motivated by the commission, but by her own resolve. Her character arc, from reluctant guide to loyal teammate, is complete. The ultimate betrayal is revealed. Wilhelmina, Lama's trusted aide, appears in the final chamber. She confesses that she was the one who stole the moon marrow after the Traveler broke the seal and gave it to the Fatui, believing the Scions' faith was a lie holding them back. Lama confronts Wilhelmina, explaining that her own faith is not blind, but rooted in a desire to protect their family, even if she knows the truth is complicated. The difference between them is that Lama cares for her people, while Wilhelmina only cared about escaping what she saw as a burden. As Wilhelmina escapes, Marionette appears with the moon marrow. But before a fight can begin, the entire facility is attacked by a massive wave of the Wild Hunt. The situation spirals out of control as their infiltration mission turns into a chaotic three-way battle for survival. The Lumen Phantom reappears, and this time, the Traveler sees through the illusion. Recalling inconsistencies from their reunion, they realize they never woke up at the same time. This painful acceptance allows them to reject the Phantom, marking a moment of crucial emotional growth. In a climactic moment, Lama unleashes her true, unrestrained power. Her silver antlers glow as she casts a massive, purifying spell, revealing herself as the true Frostmoon's emissary and showing the immense strength she had been concealing from her people this whole time. In a surprising turn, Marionette, completely annoyed by the chaos, simply hands the moon marrow over. She declares she never cared about it and tells them to get lost. Her giant robot, Polonia, carries her away, ending the confrontation in an anticlimactic but welcome way. Flint appears, and they piece together that the Wild Hunt is capable of impersonating people. The Traveler notes that the Phantom felt real because it was a perfect copy. This confirms their enemy is intelligent and strategic, not just a mindless force of the abyss. With the moon marrow too dangerous to leave unguarded, they decide to seal it inside the Traveler's body. Lama guides them through the process, and the Traveler successfully absorbs its power without any negative side effects, becoming the temporary vessel for the ancient relic. Lama finally tells the Frostmoon Scions the truth about the fake moon and their history. The reception is mixed. Some leave feeling their faith is shattered, but many others thank her for her honesty, feeling closer to her as a leader and a person. It's a painful but necessary step forward. They learn that Sosi, the Lightkeeper Sergeant Major, has been found dead, and Flint is the prime suspect. The team knows the truth is more complicated, as the Phantom has been impersonating people. This murder mystery adds another layer to the escalating crisis in Nod-Krai. While helping Anno and Anva repair the massive anti-Wild Hunt cannon, the Traveler and Paimon work alongside Sosi. They are completely unaware that this Sosi is actually the Phantom, Rier, in disguise. They unknowingly help their enemy advance his mysterious plan. The cannon is repaired and successfully test-fired, much to the excitement of Nasha Town's residents. It's seen as a symbol of hope and power against the Wild Hunt. The crew celebrates their small victory, still oblivious to the fact that they were manipulated into fixing it. To gather intelligence on the Phantom, the Traveler goes undercover as a mixologist at a private banquet in the flagship tavern. It's a classic spy mission where they have to serve drinks and eavesdrop on conversations to find out if anyone else has seen the impersonating Phantom. Ineffa introduces the Traveler as a renowned mixologist from Mondstadt, giving them the perfect cover. The patrons are all influential figures in Nod-Krai, making the tavern a hotbed of valuable information. The plan is to blend in and listen for any whispers about strange occurrences. The Traveler meets Hinsa, a machinist who maintains Yehoda's robotic arm and also knew Sosi. He provides some background on the local sentiment, but confirms he hasn't heard any rumors about the wild hunt creating illusions of familiar faces, reinforcing that the Phantom is keeping its ability secret. A high-stakes drinking game called Roulette Showdown begins. The Traveler is forced to participate and ends up winning the grand prize, a super strong drink called Dark Horse. This gives them the right to ask everyone a single question, a perfect opportunity to gather intel directly. Ineffa meets with a shady intel broker who is in debt to her. She presses him for information about the wild hunt and confirms that even he, with all his sources, has never heard of the Phantom's impersonation ability. This makes the Traveler's experience even more unique and targeted. Synthesizing all the intel, they conclude that the Phantom, their mastermind enemy, is intentionally keeping its impersonation ability under wraps to target the Moon Marrow specifically. This makes the Traveler, as the current vessel, the primary target of a very powerful and strategic foe. Lama attempts to use the Moon Marrow to show the Traveler a clear vision of their past, but the memory is turbulent and fragmented. All they see is a brief, confusing flash of their spaceship, suggesting the memory has been intentionally obscured or is too ancient to access properly. They visit Kolumbina, who is weakened. The Traveler uses the Moon Marrow's power to help her, and in return, Kolumbina reveals the Marrow belongs to Arya, the goddess of the eternal moon. She also names their enemy, Rier of Solari, one of the 5 sinners of Canria. At the Traveler's request, Kolumbina uses her power to show them a clearer vision of their arrival. It's revealed that Lumen found the Traveler from outside the crashed ship, not from within, and that they were in hibernation for a long time. This deepens the mystery of their separation. With their enemy identified as the formidable Rier, the various factions of Nod-Krai form an uneasy alliance. The Frostmoon Scions, the Curatorium of Secrets, and Anno's workshop all agree to work together to face the crisis, setting aside their differences for the greater good. They investigate Sosi's murder and realize that the Sosi they met at the cannon was Rier in disguise. They find a crucial clue: Sosi's mechanical arm was malfunctioning, something Rier failed to replicate in his illusion. This confirms their theory and reveals a flaw in Rier's power. They track down the real Flint, who has been fighting Rier alone. Flint reveals he's been collecting crystal fragments from the cores of the wild hunt, and Rier has been trying to take them from him. These fragments are connected to Rier's power and are a source of their conflict. Flint explains that the crystal fragments are highly corrosive and have been weakening him. He's been hiding them to keep them out of Rier's hands. Rier, in turn, has grown stronger since their last encounter, escalating the threat he poses to Flint and all of Nod-Krai. By confirming with Hinsa that the real Sosi never got his mechanical arm repaired, they solidify their theory that Rier impersonated him. The new mystery is why Rier would go to such lengths to get the cannon fixed, as it seemingly works against his goal of collecting fragments. Flint reveals his own big secret. He is one of the ancient Fae, a race thought to be mere legend. He explains he was awakened by a band of Ratniki and joined them out of a newfound sense of purpose, choosing to live among humans and protect them from the darkness. A mob, stirred up by rumors that Flint is a wild hunt shapeshifter, storms the tavern. Ineffa and Yehoda create a clever distraction, allowing Flint to escape through a window just in time. Rier's plan to sow chaos and isolate his enemies is clearly working. The Alliance splits up to destroy 3 wild hunt anomalies to gather fragments for Anno's experiment. Meanwhile, the Traveler and Flint go to Flint's hidden residence in the graveyard to search his records for clues about Rier's ultimate plan and his connection to the canon. From the records, they deduce Rier's true plan. He isn't trying to destroy the wild hunt with the cannon. He's using the cannon's concentrated Kuvaki blast to feed the anomalies, absorbing the resulting energy to make himself stronger and collect his fragments more efficiently. Confronting Rier at the cannon's target site, he reveals the shocking truth. The crystal fragments are pieces of his own corpse, scattered through time after his defeat. The wild hunt is literally the manifestation of his fragmented body, and he is trying to become whole again. Back in Nasha Town, chaos erupts as Rier's rumors take hold. The townspeople, terrified, decide to fire the cannon themselves, believing it's their only hope. Lama and the Alliance must now fight their way through a panicked and hostile crowd to stop them from playing right into Rier's hands. Lama uses her newfound openness and leadership to calm the crowd, appealing to their reason and courage. She successfully clears a path for Anno and Anva to reach the cannon's control room, showcasing her growth from a concealed leader to a true beacon of hope for her people. Anno and Anva are too late to stop the cannon. It fires its massive Kuvaki beam at Starsan Shaw. The Traveler and Flint are caught in the blast but manage to survive. Rier absorbs the immense power, finally regaining a complete, monstrous physical form. The newly reborn Rier, now a powerful monster, declares that the world is meaningless to him and prepares to annihilate everyone. However, his new body is unstable and he can only access a fraction of his original strength. Just as he attacks, the Traveler receives a surprising power-up. In a moment of desperation, as Rier is about to deliver a final blow, Kolumbina appears. She uses her mysterious power to teleport the Traveler and Flint to the safety of her hidden grotto, saving them from certain death and revealing the extent of her abilities. The Alliance regroups after the chaotic battle. They have managed to minimize casualties, but Rier is now free and more powerful than ever. Flint is promoted to Sergeant Major to fill the void left by Sosi, and they agree to continue their fight against the newly empowered Sinner. At Sosi's funeral, Flint honors him as a lighthouse who brought grace to those around him. He reflects on the tragic nature of his quiet dedication and vows that the shadows born of his light will remember his sacrifice, cementing his own role as a protector of Nod-Krai. In a series of epilogue scenes, the characters of Nod-Krai begin to move forward. Flint asks Anno to repair his lantern, Yoda gets her job back at the curatorium, and Dory schemes from the sidelines. The land is scarred, but the community is starting to rebuild and adapt. The Traveler finds Kolumbina taking a walk in Nasha Town. They discuss Rier's obsession and the Fatui's grand plan. Kolumbina offers to look into the mystery of the Traveler's spaceship, believing it was intentionally hidden by a powerful entity, providing a new lead for their journey. In the final, mysterious scene of the act, Varka, the long-awaited Grandmaster of the Knights of Favonius, makes his first on-screen appearance. He is seen tracking someone, ending the story on a massive cliffhanger and setting the stage for the next chapter of the adventure in Nod-Krai.